retired Chanhassen librarian Kathy Pershman, and I'd like to tell you about a Minnesota author you may not have heard of, and one of my favorites, Matt Goldman. Matt used to write for Seinfeld and other television comedies, and he's taken to writing mysteries. Even when he was writing for television shows, he kept coming back to Minnesota. His wife and children live here. He wanted his children to be raised here in Minnesota. There's lots of local scenes and knowledge that really comes through in these books. His main character is Nils Shapiro, and Nils runs a PI firm. His former police colleague, Anders Ellegard, who now works for the Edina Police Department, calls him for help. Divorcee Maggie Somerville is found murdered in her beautiful Edina home. The whole crime scene, indeed the whole house, is covered with a very fine dust, almost as if a vacuum cleaner bag was dumped out. Why would anybody do this? It doesn't make any sense. Nils knows why. He figures it out. Nils also discovered on Maggie's cell phone records that she was in frequent touch with a mysterious young woman. Then, suddenly, the FBI demands that Nils drop the case. Nils and Anders must take their investigation underground. There are 4 books in this series. This is one of my favorites, and my next favorite is number 3 in the series, called The Shallows. The Shallows by Matt Goldman, not only set in Minnesota, but the murder takes place on Christmas Lake. We have this as an e-audio, e-book, and in large print. Nils Shapiro is back, and now Anders Ellegard is a partner in his PI firm. Lawyer Ted Rabinowitz is found dead, tied to his dock by a fishing stringer through his jaw. The suspects include his unfaithful widow and her boyfriend, a polarizing congressional candidate, and everyone in his law firm. They all want Nils to protect them from suspicion. These books have incredible local Minnesota scenes and intriguing characters and a dash of humor. I think you'll really enjoy them.
Hi, Bridget from Carver County Library, talking today about some Minnesota authors. The first one I'd like to talk about is named Jess Laurie. She is kind of an unsung author. Many may know about her, but she was a new author to me, and I'm very excited to have found her. As I dug through her a little bit and went onto her website, I realized she is maybe new to me, but not new to the writing world. She has things in fiction, nonfiction, young adult, a huge series of cozy mysteries. But lately she's been focused more on her thrillers and suspense books. And one of the more recent books is called Unspeakable Things. And it seems a little, scary to me. But I am going to definitely delve into it. I read a little bit of her cozy mystery, which is exactly what anybody who likes cozy mysteries would be looking for. Just fun and light, and you get sucked into the mystery and are able to solve it with somebody who just kind of stumbles upon it. So if you like cozy mysteries, definitely start with those. If you like some suspenseful things, Unspeakable Things is one of her newest books. Some things that I learned about her that were kind of fun is that her first writing experience was a poem, and it goes, "Grandpas are full of love, grandpas are full of tickles, but grandpas are especially full of pickles." And because of the acclaim her family gave her from the poem, it started her career into writing, and she's also a professor of sociology and creative writing in a college in Minnesota. So that is Jess Laurie. Check her out. We have many of her things in our system, and they're worth reading. The second person I would like to talk about today is Tim O'Brien. He's been in our circuit for a while. He's been in some of our club books and author events. I do want to talk about him though, because he is been around for a while, so people that are maybe younger may not understand how impactful some of his writing is. I am listening to right now in my vehicle his book called The Things They Carried. It's about his experiences in Vietnam. He definitely has strong feelings about how things should have went, but the book itself is just amazing. This amazing poetical picture of these people's lives, and really humanizes each soldier with their own journey. Some other things that are great about Tim O'Brien that are important to people who live in Minnesota. He writes some books on Lake of the Woods. We got some books, July. He talks about his experiences in Lake of the Woods. One of them was a really tough time for him, making the decision to stay in America as he was drafted to Vietnam. He spent some time in the Lake of the Woods, wondering about maybe crossing over that border. It was such a compelling and difficult decision for him just to go through that with them. It was an amazing opportunity to live in somebody else's life for a minute or two. Another book that he's written, something more current, called The Dad's Maybe Book, which is actually like a diary. He started writing this book when his boys were small and finishes it as they're older. Did not really write this to be published, but then decided to after the fact. But it's these letters to his sons, some of these things these feelings that you may forget about unless you get them down on paper. Some thoughts he wants his boys to know. He started out as an older father, so it was important to him to get these things down just in case something happened. And I'm so thankful he did, because this book itself is a work of art, and his sons, what a gem for them to have in their life, and a gem for us as the average reader. Another Minnesota author who's great for us. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Marin from Chanhassen Library, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple of Minnesota authors you may not be familiar with. The first author is Mindy Miha, and she writes twisty thrillers, and they are all set in Minnesota. They are all standalone books, and she has 4 books now that she's written. The most recent is called Strike Me Down, and this one is set in Minneapolis. The main character is Nora, who is a forensic accountant, which sounds really thrilling, right? But Mindy does make that forensic accountant story very interesting. She draws on her own background as an accountant, a CPA, although she was not a forensic accountant, but she does know about that world. And so the forensic accountant actually is a lot like a detective, in that they are gathering evidence and investigating financial crime, such as money laundering. And it's like a police procedural, which makes it very interesting. The story surrounds the kickboxing tournament that is being held in Minneapolis, and it has a $20 million prize that has gone missing. And it is Nora's job to investigate it, and the company that is sponsoring this kickboxing tournament. Where it gets twisty and where it becomes a page turner is the fact that she has secret ties to the company that is sponsoring this event. So you'll find her running through the skyways of Minneapolis and many scenes that you're familiar with, and it's a page turner that'll keep you going. Her book has been compared to Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl, and also Paula Hawkins' Girl on the Train. Her other books are Leave No Trace, which came out in September 2018, and Everything You Want Me to Be, which is also, it's more set in a small town in Minnesota. So check her out. The other book I want to talk about, or author I want to talk about, is Kathleen West, and she's fairly new on the scene with just 2 books, one recently being published. But the first one I want to talk about is called Minor Dramas and Other Catastrophes. I don't have the physical copy. I listened to it on the Libby app, which maybe you're familiar with now. We just switched over to Libby, and all our audiobooks are here in Libby now, and it's there's so much there that's available because it's a combined resource for the MELSA libraries. So I've been enjoying that a lot. But Kathleen West, if you're in the middle of parenting adolescents, this may resonate really well with you. The author Kathleen West was a middle school and high school teacher with a career of 20 years, and she knows what she writes about. So this book is about a very well-liked teacher in a privileged suburban community, and the students really enjoy her. But she runs into issues when there's a helicopter parent that is upset that her child does not get one of the major roles in the school play, and starts a secret Facebook group that's like a vendetta against this teacher. And it's kind of the twists and turns of that, and the language of the whole suburban milieu, and navigating all the social media and pressures that people have to deal with these days. And maybe you're just relieved to get through it if that stage of life is behind you, like for me. I remember that time. So it's a fun book because she puts a lot, she knows what she speaks about, or writes about, I should say, and gets the dialogue and all of that of the adolescent. So that's a great one to check out. Then her newest one is Are We There Yet? Yep. And also deals with social media pressures and the hazards of current day parenting. And so check those out. She has her book was compared to Where'd You Go, Bernadette. Also Big Little Lies, also called American's Leanne Moriarty. So I hope you enjoyed these little ideas of teasers of authors to check out, and thank you for watching.